बहनों, इस इलेक्शन में सिर्फ 20 दिन बचे हैं और चॉइस मेरे और एंड्रू कोमो के बीच में है। अगर आप पहली बार इलेक्शन के बारे में जान रहे हैं तो ये है जो एंड्रू कोमो ऑफर कर रहा है।
आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
आपकी वजह से हमने $8 मिलियन रेज किया है, 6 लाख से ज्यादा दरवाजे खटखटाए हैं और बस इतने करीब है इस शहर का पहला साउथ एशियन मेयर बनाने के लिए। पर बात ये नहीं है कि मैं क्या बनूंगा, बात ये है कि मैं क्या करूंगा हमारे कम्युनिटीज के लिए और हर एक न्यूयॉर्कर के लिए। मैं हमारे शहर को अफोर्डेबल बनाऊंगा। न्यूयॉर्कर्स मुश्किल से अफोर्ड कर रहे हैं रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान। मैं ये सब बदलने के लिए लड़ रहा हूँ, रेंट फ्री बसेस, यूनिवर्सल चाइल्ड केयर और सस्ती ग्रोसरीज के जरिए। पर आपको एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, तुमने कभी किसी को वोट किया? कभी किसी को रैंक किया? देखो, यहाँ न्यूयॉर्क सिटी में हम रैंक चॉइस वोटिंग यूज करते हैं। इसका मतलब है कि सिर्फ एक कैंडिडेट को चूज करने के बजाय आप 5 कैंडिडेट्स तक को रैंक कर सकते हो अपनी पसंद के हिसाब से। सोचिए, ये 5 लस्सिया कैंडिडेट्स हैं और मैं ये वाला हूँ। ये सिस्टम ऐसे काम करता है। सबसे पहले फर्स्ट चॉइस वोट्स काउंट होते हैं। जिस कैंडिडेट के वोट सबसे कम होते हैं उसे हटा दिया जाता है। लेकिन अगर वो आपका पहला चॉइस था तो आपका वोट खत्म नहीं होता है, वो आपके नेक्स्ट चॉइस को चला जाता है। ये प्रोसेस तब तक चलता है जब तक किसी कैंडिडेट के पास आधे से ज्यादा वोट्स ना हो जाएं। आप जितने ज्यादा लोगों को रैंक करते हो उतनी ज्यादा आपकी बैलेट और आवाज में।
Thanks everybody for rolling up. Really appreciate you being here. We got massive news. Some of you may have heard this, but we are going to dive into the victory of Zoran Mandami in the Dem primary for New York City mayor. The Democrats have literally gone and elected an Islamist, Muslim, communist to be their candidate in New York City. This is absolutely nutcaseville. You've got to check this out. So you saw there a campaign ad by Mondami, literally in another language, broadcast in another language for the city of New York in a campaign ad. It's absolutely nuts, but that is the level of insanity that New York has descended into. We all remember London has fallen, Olympus, well, New York has fallen in terms of Democrat politics. This could be the end of the Democrat Party as we know it. It could also be the end of the greatest city in the world as we know it. However, there is some hope. But as he was explaining in that ridiculous campaign video, which I believe was in Hindi or Urdu, so it wasn't Arabic, but it was in Hindi, I believe. Mandani basically in a weighted choice race got so much of the vote that Cuomo realized he couldn't even go to a second round. It was pointless because Brad Lander and Adrian Adams were basically 2 other socialist communist candidates that would simply coalesce behind Mondami. So Cuomo conceded after round 1. There was no second, third round. So what you've got is the Dems in New York have elected primary-wise the most radical left wacko candidate you could ever think of. And just so you know that I'm not just making this stuff up, we've got some more videos of Mondami in his own words. Check out some of this stuff. Really appreciate everybody rolling up. All right, let's check this out. Mondami in his own words. Literal crazy town.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day depending on what they can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city funds from corporate supermarkets to city-owned grocery stores, whose mission is lower prices, not price gouging. These stores will operate without a profit motive or having to pay property taxes or rent, and will pass on those savings to you. Grocery prices are out of.
So Mondami is going to create government-owned stores. Let me see, where has that been done before? Let me think. Oh, that's right, the Soviet Union. It was done somewhere else too. What was that little island? It's off the coast of Florida. Remind me if anybody remembers. Oh, Cuba. Yeah, that's right. And how did those 2 experiments in government-run communist stores go? Absolute abject failures. Bread lines, nothing on the shelves. Think of what the man just said. He is going to create a network of government-owned stores that do not pay rent. They have no overhead. Therefore, they will be able to undercut all of their private competitors. So he will drive New Yorkers out of business. Eventually, if this were to gain traction, the only thing left in New York would be government-run stores, because the other stores who have to pay rent, who have to buy the food, they would not be able to compete. So you would be left with whatever the government-run store wants to offer you. But remember, there's no profit motive. So they don't actually care about customer service or quality or anything else. The poor clerk who's probably being paid whatever minimum wage is sitting behind the counter, and the general manager of that store who might be making double that, who knows, do you think they're going to order all sorts of different kinds of, let's say, jam or milk or butter? No, 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 because they're not getting paid to service you as the customer. They're getting paid by the hour, or they're getting paid a straight salary. They're getting paid to show up. So guess what? There's going to be one selection of milk if you're lucky. And guess what? If they run out of product, who cares? It's a government-run store. They don't care if you don't show up. They're not incentivized by you actually shopping there. This is going to be an abject disaster. This is the nutcaseville that we are talking. Now, I want to play another video of Mondami, again in his own words, and I just want to caveat this with, remember the slogans in New York after 9/11. Remember all the logos, all the slogans with the collapsing World Trade Center that said, never forget. Well, check this out, because frankly, I think New Yorkers forgot.
I get messages that say the only good Muslim is a dead Muslim. I get threats on my life. On the people that I love. And I try not to talk about it, because the function of racism, as Toni Morrison said, is distraction. My focus has always been on making this a city that's affordable, on making this a city that every New Yorker sees themselves in. And it takes a toll, because this is a city that every single person deserves to be in. It's a city that we all belong to. And the thing that's made me proudest in this campaign is that the strength of our movement is built on our ability to have built something across Jewish and Muslim New Yorkers, across New Yorkers of all faiths, and all backgrounds, and all boroughs. And anti-Semitism is such a real issue in the city. And it has been hard to see it weaponized by candidates who do not seem to have any sincere interest in tackling.
Now, has Zohran Mondami received inappropriate, possibly racist messages? He probably has. Has it been to the level, to the extent that he's up here tearfully whining about it, as Greg Foreman would say, boo-hooing and crying? No, I do not think so. This was an attempt at manufactured sympathy, in my opinion. But remember that New York used to say never forget when jihadi terrorists flew planes into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, bringing those buildings down, killing thousands. Well, it seems that New York has forgotten, because they just elected someone who if in a primary, who if elected in the general, I guarantee you will make New York look far more like Seattle and London than any other city in America. This is absolutely nuts. This is the level to which the Democrats have utterly veered left, far hard left. The Mondamis, the Ilhan Omars, the AOCs of the world, who frankly hate America, they hate everything America stands for, are now the leaders, the de facto leaders of the Democrat Party. As bad as the Democrat establishment was, they are being ousted from their own party. This is the death of the Democrat Party as we know it. Now, in the general, this is going to be a real wild race, because you're going to have Mondami, he is absolute, utter communist. And we're going to show you that. I've got some other information for you. He's absolute, utter communist, and he is 100% backed by groups that also back terrorist organizations. We're going to get into that. We're going to have Mondami representing the ultra hard left. You're going to have Eric Adams running as an independent, who pretty much represents the more moderate is the wrong word, but more the establishment wing of the Democrat Party, although he's running as an independent. You've got Cuomo talking about possibly running as a fourth candidate. And then you've got Curtis Sliwa running as the Republican candidate. Oh, how I wish we had someone with the popularity of a Giuliani sitting in the GOP slot right now, because this could be for the GOP's taking. I don't know how strong a candidate Sliwa is. I have not studied him. But this could very well be an absolute catfight for the general election, because I think you're going to have a whole slew of lower income New Yorkers who do not vote for Mondami because he didn't get their votes in the primary. His primary voters were non-citizens and white liberals, progressive white liberals. Now realize that Mondami, even as a Muslim communist, grew up with privilege. His parents are wealthy. He's had money his whole life. So he fits right in with the ultra white, and not even white, but the wealthy, upscale progressive. That's where he really drew most of his votes, and and the young voters, the people who have no idea what communism is. In fact, the number one Googled search term after the primary was communist. Like, you may have tried to Google that beforehand. But as we lead into that, this is going to be an absolute catfight. But I wanted to show you this because this man is an abject communist. What he is espousing and what he espoused in this election was essentially two things. He ran on Trump derangement and free stuff. Trump derangement and free stuff. He ran on, we are going to Trump-proof New York City. For who? For the Black American citizens? For the Hispanic American citizens? No. He's going to Trump-proof it for the criminal, illegal aliens. That's who he wants to protect. Next, he's going to implement a $30 minimum wage. So you're going to chase any businesses that have entry-level employees right out of the city, or you're going to chase them into automation. Next, they want to give free MTA, free bus rides, free stuff, free food. The government run stores. To do that, you are going to have tens of billions of dollars of additional revenue, which you're going to try to raise by taxing the rich and taxing corporations, which will only suffice in driving those corporations out of New York City. He's even going to try to say any business that does business in New York City, we are going to subject your entire income to an 11.5% tax, which will immediately be struck down by the courts. The only thing he'll be able to tax is whatever portion of business that corporation does in New York City, which will simply force all those businesses out of New York City. They'll do business in Jersey. They'll do business in White Plains. They'll do business somewhere else, but it won't be New York City, which will cause the revenues to fall. It will collapse the tax base. Their bonds will no longer be able to uphold any level of debt by the city. This is going to be an absolute disaster. But I wanted to show you this because who this mayor idolizes and loves and considers a friend and a mentor is someone by the name of Arya Rajendran, the new mayor, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this city, but it's a city in India. She is absolutely a communist, left alternative and communist. So badly so that she has at her disposal, she has a group of volunteers called the Red Volunteers. Now, they're more than volunteers because they act with her authority. They patrol the city for behavior. They patrol the city to maintain what they call proper behavior. They have no legal authority. They're not part of law enforcement. They're not part of the actual government, certainly not in terms of, as authorized by the city council. No. These are basically her private brown shirts. Make no mistake, this is who Zoran Mondami is looking at. Now, the other thing I told you was that he was funded by an organization that also funds terrorist groups in America. Check this out, because he got money from CARE, the Council for Arab Islamic Relations, which, as we know, over the last 5 years has already been targeted as a group that funnels money to terrorist organizations. So this is the bad elements that you've got sitting behind Zoran Mamdani, and the fact that he just won the New York City Dem primary is very scary indeed. We're going to have to wait for the general, and by the grace of God, Sliwa will win it. Or dare I say this, I'll be rooting for Eric Adams. If Sliwa can't pull it off, I will be rooting for Eric Adams. I never thought I would hear myself utter those words on any venue, let alone a live one. So take that to the, mark that one down, bookmark that one, because I don't know that I'll ever say that again. All right. Thanks everybody for rolling up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also share Courageous Media with everybody that you know. We are now monetized again. So if you'd like, join us as a member here on YouTube or shoot us a super. We'd love to hear from you.